My man.
It's good.
So,
talk to the people. Talk to the people.
Talk to the people, man. Let's talk to the people. So, what's your take on leadership?
On leadership?
On leadership,
Ooh,
right?
ooh.
Let's talk specifically to having kids. Leadership.
It's a lot of work. Raising kids. I mean, you're raising the future. And at the same time, I mean, you were raised, but you want to do things differently because how you were raised, you want to change certain things. So ultimately, it's been a long journey for me. And I think leadership and parenting is, you'll never reach the destination of, oh, I'm done parenting.
Right.
Like it's a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
So as far as my kids go, I want them to be able to do what they want to do in life, be successful in their own right. And I don't want to force them in a particular way because I love basketball, I love rapping, and now I'm in this photography thing. But I'm not going to make them do that.
Gotcha.
But I did see my 5-year-old setting up a little box up there trying to take pictures and be like, Dad, look what I did. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's dope.
But ultimately, I want them to be able to find their gift in life quick so they can grow it faster. You know, you see those kids that be like 10 years old and started a whole $1 million business. I want that personally. Tell me, like, what you feeling there?
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, you spoke to gifts, and then you talked about what you do and how your kids are kind of shadowing what you do. I know a lot of people with me being in fitness, they're like, I know your kids gonna be super fitness guys, they're gonna be big into sports, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, like, I don't push them into sports. I don't push them into fitness. Like, I let them do whatever they want to do, right? So I have one son, he seems very, very savvy with technology. So I'm like, all right, I think that's your gift. So I'm gonna push that. My one son, he's like my twin. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's easy, right? You know what I mean? That's easy. Do what I do. And then my two smaller ones, like, they're still finding their way. But the biggest thing I realized is I can't force it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times parents they say live through their child.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, listen, you gotta let them live your life. Because at the end of the day, we want the best for our children, right? We want to see them be successful, more successful than we are, right? We want them to avoid those potholes, those different things. And I think that's really what the hard point is like, when your parents like, I've been there, done that.
Yep.
Like, literally, I'm in that phase of my mind, like, I see my son about this, I'm like, listen, don't do that. But I know he's still gonna do it.
Yep.
So I think as leaders, or talking to leadership, it's a matter of sometimes letting them bump their head, but not fall completely on their face.
Yes, thanks.
Right? Like, I'm gonna let you scrape your elbow, but I'm not gonna let you completely fall on your face. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. So I was kind of actually working on a book, pretty much based around gifts and how people have certain gifts in life that maybe they find when they're, like I said, they're young, or when they're like 50 years old, they figure out their gift, whether it be acting. Who's that old actor? I can't remember his name. But like
Samuel?
Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Okay.
But there's some actors that are older that started their career, or at least it seemed like they started their career like at an older age. They found their gift later on in life. Probably the gift of gab, you know what I'm saying? They get in front of the camera, you know what I'm saying, mess with your mind a little bit. But ultimately, they found their gift, and my book is going to be based around you being able to get your children to find their gift quicker, to grow faster in their gift and be more successful. So if their gift is to, I don't know, intercommunicate, talk with people and work with people, you help them find that gift quicker. So then as they get older, they already sharpen that tool, so it's just going to get sharper. So they're probably better a leader, like a Barack Obama or someone like that, of that nature. And if they're better with ingenuity, someone like Elon Musk, you'd be able to use those skills and to help make things better. Because I mean, things have already been invented.
Right.
Well, Elon Musk took the car and made it electric, and then took it to another level. It's like the #1 branded car in the world right now. So like, those people found their gift and they grew it, and now they're who they are today. And that's, to me, that's amazing. So in my book, I'm literally talking to parents for the most part and tell them with your kids and with yourself how you can work on actually finding your gift and growing yourself from that. And being who you want to be, and not just doing this 9 to 5, working at, I mean, I ain't trying to bash Walmart, but Walmart, or working at Taco Bell, when you could be doing something you love. Like, could you imagine you doing something you actually enjoy doing, and it's not work no more? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I've been working 3 months straight. I had a day off, but you know what? I don't look at it as work. I actually enjoy photography. I enjoy videography, and this is something I do, and it's my passion. But if it had been like, oh, me go work this second job, got to put this uniform on so this manager can tell me what I'm gonna do today. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same field. So finding that gift to me is extremely powerful for you and your children.
No, that's true. And so I think, you know, speaking to helping them find their gift, as the leader, as the parent, another thing we have to pay attention to is putting our pride aside. Right? Putting that ego aside of, I do know it all, right? So, you know how I talked about, hey, like, been there, done that?
Yeah.
I may have been there, done that, but the outcome could be different.
Mm.
Right? Like what happened in 1991 versus 2020 is completely different now.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I know for me, right, having boys, I'm like, listen, I'm leading from the front. We're gonna get this done. This is how we're moving. We're moving as a unit. But a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but there's been moments where I'm like, I'm actually leading us astray when I think I know what I'm doing, right? And I'm like, actually, I'm taking us the wrong direction, right? And then my wife may come and be like, hey, that pothole is right there. You walking everybody into, right? But I had to really like, hey, put my pride aside to say, hey, listen, yes, I've been there, I've done it, but the outcome could be different, right? So that partnership as well, right, with a spouse and people that you can lean on, that you respect their opinions and value their opinions is definitely important.
I can see that, you know what I'm saying? And that's probably huge for me, putting my pride aside, because it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this.
I feel it.
I'm in the military. I done learned all these skills. Like, I got this. I can steer this ship all day. But reality is, I make mistakes. Yeah. But it's something I got to grow myself, is to be able to admit when I make a mistake. And then not necessarily let it take over, but we sit down and figure out how to make things better and not argue about it and figure things out. So that's very valuable. Like with the kids, like, you like, no, you can't have ice cream. But daddy said, oh, wait, well, I didn't, and then you realize, oh, I messed up. Have that conversation with her instead of being in that. Sometimes I'm like for the most part, I'll like, okay, I messed up. But sometimes I'll be like, nah, go and eat that ice cream.
Keep it to the best.
So that is pretty powerful. It's a team. It's not necessarily just a one-man army going there and doing things yourself and looking back like, oh, I made a mistake. But actually working with your spouse to figure things out. That's pretty powerful, actually.
I mean, I constantly think about, how I can improve, right? But I'm not perfect, right? So these are things I think about, but I bump my head 10, 20 times, right? But I just think like, as business owners, right, coming back to that, we're leaders, right? So we tell people what to do, right? Yeah. Hey, I tell people when they want to get in shape, this is how you do it. When somebody says, I need you to bring me to life, you're like, hey, I need to life this way, but I need you to do this. I need you to show up at this time, perform this way, act this way. Have that outer body experience where you're not caught up in the lights and the cameras. Just do your thing, right? So we lead, but as leaders, we got to be able to follow at times.
Facts. That's true.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think about that all the time because I'm like, in order to grow, there's somebody that's done it already, right?
Yeah, facts.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean?
Mentorship.
Mentorship. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be afraid to take on a mentor. But again, everything that mentor may give you may not all be for you, but be able to take it and decipher it for what you need and move forward.
That's true. That's true.
What else you got for us?
So I mean, I'm actually my command mentor at my command.
Okay.
And so we talk about things like that, and like you said, falling in potholes and things like that. That's super valuable in your life to be able to have somebody be like, hey, I know you're going this way, but if you go this way, it's quicker.
Gotcha.
So that's amazing valuable. But let's see, let's shift it up. So what else can we talk about here?
What's your take on society in 2020? Right? We got earlier this year we had the Black Lives Matter movement. We had just a lot of injustices being brought to attention because these are things that have been happening forever.
Yeah.
Right, but now they're being brought to light, and you're getting a lot of opinions, perspectives, and thoughts on it. And so, I know for me, I'll speak for self. I've seen some opinions that I didn't agree with, that bothered me all the way, right? But I had to take into self and say, how am I going to respond? Do I respond here?
Yeah.
Do I respond here? Do I let it go? Do I go face to face, have a conversation? Like, how do I go about it? But I had to first be able to accept how I felt about it. Yeah. Like, how do I feel about all this? And I feel like my emotions are all over the place at times. What's your take?
So, I mean, 34 years old at this point, and I've seen it all, you know what I'm saying? And I've been raised by our black parents and them giving their take on when they were growing up and telling their stories. And personally, I just navigate around it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm getting pulled over, I'm giving you the utmost respect above and beyond, so I don't have to. I know some people say you shouldn't have to feel like that,
right?
But it's a value, so you don't put yourself in situations. Now, sometimes situations gonna happen regardless. Like it's coming,
right?
But do everything you can. Put those keys up there. Roll down those windows. Hold them. Like I go all out. I take the keys out. I put my hands out the window to make sure I'm doing everything I can to make sure nothing is gonna happen. It's gonna be my fault.
Right.
But you hear these horror stories, and then like the systematic racism thing.
Yes.
You don't see that.
Right.
You don't see it.
Feel it.
You don't even know. You be like, nah, it don't exist. It does. You just don't know it. It's above your level, or it's happening on the side of you, but it's 2 rooms down the way, and somebody's discussing your name and saying, hey, we're gonna treat him this way, and you don't know it, and then you wonder why you didn't get advanced, or you're gonna wonder why this person is getting paid more than I am, or these different things. So as a black man in America, I do fear when a cop comes up behind me. But at the same time, I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to believe in God to make sure I'm safe in those situations. Now, I do believe in action. So I'm talking to the younger generation and asking how they feel about it. So I can pretty much groom them to not necessarily have to be afraid, but be aware that this is how America works, and the kids be prepared for it. Because if they're not prepared and they think they're going to go out here and do whatever they want, and then things go wrong, I didn't put my kids in an opportunity to not have to avoid something like that. Right. So me personally, emotion-wise, I see it, and it hurts. And I mean, it's happened to some of my friends of mine back home, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, that could have been me. Right. So like I said, I'm doing everything in my power to stay away from situations like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it sounds crazy, but I'm avoiding it at all costs, and that's how I deal with it personally. Right. So not necessarily running, but just being smart about how I move.
I think, you know, it's something that we have to realize, and at least I try to spread that message, is that it's our reality. Yeah. Right? No, it's not fair, but it is what it is, and you got to be able to adapt, right? Adapt to your norm, because that's the norm. The norm is, when I'm viewed outside of my military uniform, if I'm in a hoodie and sweatpants, people don't know me as Sergeant Bud. Yeah. People don't know me as Bud from Flawless Fitness. You know what I mean? Like, I perceived a certain way based on what I'm wearing. Unfortunately, it isn't fair, but it's what it is. So I've learned to, you know, while my emotions I may feel a certain way, I have to act a certain way, because if I act the wrong way, unfortunately, it could be my life.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, so the message I try to preach is that, yes, you know, these things are horrific, these things are wrong, but we have to create actionable plans. Yeah. To say, hey, listen, let's do our part. Let's do our part, right? But again, there are those situations, right, where wrong is wrong, right? We're seeing situations where it's just wrong. Like, and I'm like, how? I'm like, how are these things happening? And you know, my oldest son is only 7, so I haven't had that tough conversation with him just yet, just because he can't digest that just yet. But I think about how I'm gonna have that conversation with him and say, listen, son, because I know how I think, right? Yeah. And I'm able to boom, 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 boom. But now, how do I express that? Yeah. How do I express that to my 8-year-old son, 9-year-old son, when he goes to school? When people are, you know, everybody raises their children differently. Yeah. Some people expose their children to more at a younger age than others. Like, I realized when my sons first went to school, they were like naive, because I didn't expose them to a lot, like adult things, what I consider adult things. I didn't really expose them to. Yeah, because they're growing faster. Right, and then they're coming home and they're telling me these things, and I'm like, ooh, I got some catching up to do, because I wasn't gonna show you that for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those things mentally that I'd be lying to say it didn't bother me. Yeah. Right? Because I see it, you know what I'm saying? I see the comments, I've seen the people that, you know, I thought a certain way of, and I see it, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, man, like, I'm more disappointed. Like, sheesh, man, like, I thought you was alright. You know what I mean? Like, I considered you a brother and sister. You know what I mean? Especially as you know, that military fraternity is deep. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's deep. These are brothers and sisters that, and my line was always this: listen, if the terrorists came over the fence right now, I expect you to have my 6 because I got yours. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when we have issues like this happening, I mean, you see some of the comments, you see some of the issues that we're having, and I call it the lack of empathy. Facts. The lack of empathy, it cuts deep. It's deeper than like my feelings are hurt. It's just like my soul hurts. So I got a take on that, right? Okay. And I didn't want to believe this, but their outlook on our life is different than theirs. Right. So they're looking at us going like, can that be real? Is that really how it's happening? And they see the TV. They never lived our life. Like, they never been in the situation where I just got pulled over a cop. I could die or I can live. Right. That's so in their mind, that's not a thing for them. So just imagine, and we've
from day, like since we've been driving 15, every time a cop pull over behind us, how we feel, and they ain't never felt like that.
Yeah.
So in their mind, it's like, and then when you tell them that you're afraid, it doesn't resonate with them.
Right.
So that's why they leave those comments. That's why they don't believe that it's all the same opportunity. You know what I'm saying? They don't see our plight, like the things we have to go through, and that's sometimes we don't even see it.
Yeah.
We don't even know that we're going through things like I know I've been working hard.
Our normal.
Yeah,
it's our normal.
I know I've been working hard. I know I deserve this advancement. Why am I not getting pay raises? Why? Let me go talk to the boss, and then he's like, yeah, this, that, and the other, tell you some nonsense, and send you on your way. But reality is, this is why it's happening.
Right. It's deeply rooted. Right. So, man, I'm gonna put something out here that people may feel how you want to feel about it, but we gotta remember, the civil rights was in the 1960s, right? So these people are still alive, right? So what do they teach their children?
Facts.
Right? And these children are 50, 60, some of our leaders, right? In all different aspects of life, in corporations, in military settings, in all these different types of settings, they are. So I say to myself, I'm like, yes, while there are some that have a different outlook, right? And I'm happy for those folks, and I hope that they're using their power to make a change. There are some folks that don't care, right?
Yeah.
Because we believe, when you're a child, you believe what your parents teach you, right? To the T.
Yeah.
To the T. You know what I'm saying? Until a wow moment happens.
Yeah.
That changes your mind, you believe that, right?
That's true.
So I put it in perspective all the time. I'm like, listen, again, like, you don't understand my experience because you've never lived it, you've never seen it, and you were even taught a certain way potentially, right? So I have to really have that reality moment with myself and say, listen, they don't get it.
They don't know.
They don't even get it, right?
Yeah.
So, in no way am I looking to bash, but it's just the reality. That's just what it is. Like, and I think we have to get out of the whole point of anytime we talk about race relations or human relations, people want to be like, oh, you're bashing one side or you're bashing the other side. No, I'm not bashing you. I'm giving you a reality. Yeah. Because reality is that people are dying for senseless things. Yeah. Right? When we know they can be rectified a different way. Right? I've got 6 years law enforcement, right? So I see things from both sides, right? I look at it from a law enforcement perspective, like, okay, if someone did that, are they a potential threat? How big of a threat are they? From the moment, I break it down, from the moment I pull somebody over, right? I'm assessing. This person bigger than me, this person smaller than me. Do I think they could take me out with a chop or whatever the case may be? I'm assessing, right? And so when you assess, you're going to move accordingly to your initial assessment, right? But there is a protocol, right? But the one thing I do factor in, and it's not fair, right? But a lot of people, when some of these things happen, they happen so fast.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Seconds.
Somebody moves a certain way, and you just react, right? But you know what that tells me?
What?
That's deeply rooted. When you react without thinking, that
true.
means it was in you.
That's true.
That means it was already in your head that if it got to this point, you were already going to make that move regardless. Yeah. Based on your initial assessment.
Because like you training, like when you train somebody, you go over and over and over and over and repetitive. It's the same thing. What happens when you do this? This is how you react. When this happens, you react, and you get that training when you're a professional in something. Right. So to go off that cue, like you do something completely different. That's not what you trained. So if you're whatever that reaction you gave, that's what you were trained to do, or that's what you taught yourself.
That's in your core. That's in your core. And I think the issue is we gotta call it for what it is. Like people's cores are bad, right? Their heart, their soul is bad, right? And when I say your soul is bad, to me that's even bigger than racism, right? Like in your soul, you dislike or you have disdain or you hate, right? Someone for whatever reason that is. But that's in your core. So it's gonna take a lot to change your core. And I don't feel like there's any training that I know of that's going to change that core overnight, right? Yeah. Because you're going to have to peel back that onion and expose yourself, right? Expose your weakness. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, listen, I got some faults, right? How many people are willing to do that? I know it'll be tough for me to do that. You know what I mean? Like expose everything, right? Just say, because at the end of the day, right? Law enforcement is here to protect us, right? Yeah. There's good, there's bad on both sides, no matter what you're doing. But I think we have to understand that in order to protect and serve, right? It's more than just be able to physically do the job. It's more than just being able. It's bigger than even mental, right? It's a soul search. It's a soul search, right? because you got to really know deep in your heart, like, yeah, okay, when you go out every day, you are at risk, right? That's a probability. Yeah. Just like as military folks, when we go do our job every day, we at risk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just the nature of the beast. But we have to truly get to the core of, you got to check your soul first, because what you're dealing with all types of people, old, young, crimes, good deeds, just assisting in the community, right? And if your soul ain't right, well, that dark side always going to show itself. It's going to show itself, right? So I think what the issue we have is a soul. It's a soul issue, a core issue, right? And it's spewed as, yes, it is a form of racism, right? Because that's that dark side of their core, right? Or maybe not racism, but discrimination, or the stereotype, right? The stereotype that has been put in their picture that anybody that doesn't in a suit and tie is a criminal.
Yeah.
If I'm wearing a white beater, some jeans, and I got dreads, I look intimidating.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't keep it 100. I had to break that for myself. That when I'm out and I see somebody with dreads and blah blah blah, that they potentially could cause threat, could cause harm to me. And that's keeping it 100. Like I had to check myself and be like, nah, man, he want to grow his hair out.
Yeah.
he want to grow his hair out. Just like I want to cut my hair.
Yeah, so like, and when I was kind of growing up, I'm talking about like 21, 22, I was sitting down, and I'm like, how is this stuff happening in the streets every day? These cops are reacting the way they react. Would you pull over your sister and shoot her? Would you pull over your brother? How about a cousin? Somebody you know, right? Mm-hmm. What's the difference between a cousin and just some random person on the street? You know them, right?
Right.
So I was thinking like some along the lines that these cops go to these neighborhoods that they patrol. They have to go to these neighborhoods that they patrol and actually interact with the people in those neighborhoods and get to know them and legitly know them. Like have cookouts, play basketball, do things with these people. So when you pull over John, what up, John, man? Yeah, it was a good game we had last night. Yeah. Hey, bro, you was speeding, man. You know you was speeding, right? Yeah, I know I was speeding. My bad. Okay, let's fix it. Give him a warning or a ticket. But if you don't know this person, all threat levels popping in. Oh, that's John's car. He got the black Camaro.
Right.
I know who yep, that's John. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if you don't know these people you're dealing with, just imagine. Like, right. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. So I would definitely go into these neighborhoods and meet them.
Yeah.
Maybe not in uniform. Just go there, like not in my police officer uniform, but go there and just be in civilian clothes and talk to them and hold conversations. Right. And get to know them and hang out with them and get to know who I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Because we're protected, like you're protected serve, right? So you're in these neighborhoods. So why would you not know these people? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. It makes sense. Crazy. No, it's crazy, right? When you think like you have people that you're in a sense in charge of, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know nothing about.
You don't know anything about them. Yeah. You need to be in those neighborhoods. You need the police station, instead of buying more guns and more weapons and stuff, they need to invest that into building a relationship. When someone sells you on something, if it's a soft sale, they don't really care. They just say, blah, 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 here's an iPod, buy it, right?
Right.
But if I'm legitly selling you on something, I'm gonna do what?
I'm gonna get to know you.
I'm gonna build rapport. If you don't have a rapport with somebody and you try to tell them to do something or you try to sell them on something, what happens?
I don't want it.
You get that negative energy immediately.
Right.
So granted, if you're a highway patrolman, it might get a little different. You know what I'm saying? People coming through, but in these areas, these neighborhoods where it's happening a lot, these officers need to go there and build relationships with these people. Because guess what? If I'm John and I'm sitting in the car and I look in the rearview mirror, like, oh, that's Sam. Oh, that's Sam. Sam, what up, man? Yeah, I know I messed up, bro. I was speeding. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know each other. And I think that's what the problem is with everything that's going on in the world. It's just a reality. Like, if I'm over here behind enemy lines and they see me, what's going to happen?
Right.
I don't know this guy.
You know, people gotta want to do better.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, they say children, they learn the most, what is it, between like 2 and 6 or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but at a young age, they learn the best. In theory, what we're trying to do is we're trying to change individuals that have been doing what they've been doing for 20 plus years, right? How do we change that? And I'll be honest, some days I sit back and I'm like, man, will it ever change, right? Because I think about this. I think about my sons, right? They're going to be young men. They're going to be adults that are going out into America, into the world. And I say, will it truly get better? Like how do I equip them to not look us like we all discriminate, we all stereotype, right?
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah, we do that.
that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
As human beings. But do I teach them the mindset of, hey, you really need to be worried about when you get pulled over, and this is really how you need to move, right? To what is that extreme level, right?
Yeah.
Like, I see where it's at right now, right? But when my son who's 7 is 18, where would that be at? That's my thought process, because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I hope it gets better. I want it to get better.
Yeah.
But will it get better?
Will it get better? I mean, we don't know.
Right.
But we are striving to do that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Protests and people making moves, changing things. And like I said, just the little statues laying around. It holds on to that.
Yeah.
To that nature, that culture.
It's symbolic.
Because it's powerful. People like, it is powerful. It does resonate. Because people that think that way look at it like, we still good. We still good. We still handling business. It's still the same way we got it.
Yeah.
So, but I think it does change. I think things are changing. What's it, Black Wall Street they call it?
Yeah.
Look right now in 2020, how many billionaires we got right now?
Fair.
Things have already started changing, and I think as we become, we got a first black president. As we become more in these type of positions to make changes are going to happen. It's just we've been held back so long to make those changes happen. Is why things haven't gotten to a point where it's a norm.
Right.
And I think honestly, ghettos and hoods and things are going to slowly be gone. Like, it's not going to be a ghetto and a hood. Everybody's going to be living on it. At least not necessarily middle class, but above that class where you got to be selling drugs to survive and provide to your family and your kids. That's going to die out. That's not going to be a thing, because schools are going to get better in those areas, because no more redlining, things like that. It's a slow process. It's years and years of being held down. So like, I think things are changing. It's going to take a little longer, but as you get more Jay-Z's and more, Kanye West's, and you get more of those people, Oprah Winfrey, that can be on that level to look down and be like, no, change it, nope, change it, nope, change it, and they become more and more people. It lifts up the people. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be at a higher state, but that's gonna take time. And with all these video cameras, and be able to record and show that this stuff is happening,
right,
that's gonna make change. So I think there's a lot of different things that are happening in the world right now at this exact moment to make things better, and it's already been happening, and things are happening better. You know what I'm saying? Like, we couldn't vote how long ago? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like, things are changing, maybe not as fast as people want them to change,
right,
but they're inevitable to change as long as the foot is not on your neck to get held down. You feel me? Like, and I think that is happening as we speak.
Yeah.
But we as business owners, as black business owners, have to push that forward. I plan on when COVID-19 clears up a little bit, going to schools and teaching photography to kids. Let them know there's an opportunity. You can make some money. You can get you a little camera, get you a smartphone, and go out there and take some pictures of your friends and charge them $2. You know,
right.
Like, hey, that's $2 for photos to grow. But there's opportunities other than selling drugs, other than I gotta be playing in the NBA, other than I gotta make it to the NFL. There's other jobs and things you can do out there by yourself without having someone to be behind you to carry you. You can carry yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying? Baby. That ownership.
And the only way to do that is to let these kids know and show them that opportunity exists.
Yeah.
Because to them, they only see what they see.
They see what they see.
And I grew up. People say, but I grew up in the hood, but I didn't get involved in that stuff. Like, I would walk down the street, they'd be selling drugs, crack house right across the street, you know. And I grew up in that stuff, and I can see how easily you can be like, but I want them new Jordans. I'm gonna go sell these drugs real quick and buy those new Jordans and keep moving. But I was like, nah, my grandma was on it. She's like, you get your butt in this gate and stay in the gate, you know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And I got in that gate and I played basketball in there and I did my work, and she kept me out of trouble, you know what I'm saying? Where you at? Get to the house now. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, so that kept me out of trouble. Now, granted, I'm not that type of person. Like, I don't think I was ever that type of person. But there are people that can be easily enticed to do things like that. Yeah. So, but giving those kids opportunity, like right now as we speak, COVID-19 is hit, right?
Right.
How many kids are not on sports teams? How many kids or doesn't have these opportunities to do the things, those extracurricular stuff? So what are they doing at that time? What are they doing? Anybody paying attention?
Right.
Those kids that would have been out there practicing football or soccer or baseball are not doing those things. So what are they doing with the extra time? They ain't building a business.
No, probably not.
They in the streets. We need to make a Zoom call. Hey, y'all jump on. We're gonna talk business. We're gonna talk money. What y'all want to do? Okay, let's figure this out. Let me help you build your business. Oh, you want to shoot a music video? What do you want to do? We need to help guide these kids, because right now this could easily set back some stuff that we've been doing. Easy.
Flawless Fitness. It's more than a brand. It's a movement.